So Jake, you've done some pretty big budget studio movies. I guess Prince of Persia comes to mind. You know, is this more fun in a way to actually make it more difficult?
I mean, both. Both were very fun. I mean, but as somebody who likes to feel like they're really part of a team, you know, even more so than an army. You know, I think this feels like the way I love to make movies, in that, like, you know, Duncan and I, you know, he is so much older than I am, but he's my, you know, I feel like he's a contemporary, you know, and that feels like what we find funny, you know, what we love in story. Like, when I knew brilliant choices that he made that I thought were so, it's like I couldn't have done it better, thought it better as an audience member, was like, you know, when you eventually find out who the bomber is, you know, who that guy is and why, and I won't give too much away. All of that was based on Duncan's interpretation of this documentary that he saw, that I also don't want to give too much away. People are going to see this before the movie comes out, but the subtleties of choices that he makes, I always have faith in. And I think, you know, I would back him up in any choice he made, because I feel like we have very similar mindsets about how we love movies, you know, and that's a rare thing to do, but I mean, it's always fun. I mean, I felt like we were always...
I mean, it helped so much. I mean, coming from a small indie to a film of a bigger budget, a Hollywood-style film, to know that I had Jake in my corner, and then on the post-production side, I had Paul Hirsch as my editor, who's a legend. You know, to have those two guys and know that they were backing me up made a huge difference. I don't envy those indie directors who get saddled on big-budget films and don't have that kind of backup.
But I would say to him sometimes, I'd be like, you know, there's that one shot. This is what it's nice to feel like you're like a contemporary with somebody, because he has such brilliant ideas, and again, the budget would constrain. And I think as a director, you're faced with so many choices that obviously as an actor you don't even hear about, because he's trying to protect me from that so I can do my job. But I would say to him, I'd say, what was that? Were we supposed to do that shot? Where then he'd be like, yes,
I traded
it in for this thing that you had to do. I'd be like, no! I'm like, we're going to do that shot! You know, and one of my favorite shots in the movie is, and I feel a little proud of myself, that I was like, we're doing it, we have to do this shot, was the shot when I back up into the train and he does this pull out and the train pulls away. Yeah. That shot is so cool, and we did it. We did it in that day. That was like, everyone was stressing out.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we did, because I just keep thinking, if he was able to do everything he wanted to do on this movie, you know, and had all those resources, my gosh, what you get now with that.
There's a danger. There's a danger.
There is a danger. No, I'm just saying, if he, I want more Duncan Jones. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, I want more Duncan Jones.
Let's go there a little bit, because you know you can go too far. You can put all that money into the visual effects. You can put all that money into the elaborate camera movements, and you're forced. Yeah. As you say, to make the choices that have to be made.
Yes.
And sometimes that kind of editing ends up making a better movie.
I agree.
I think so too. But I mean, I think
you do want the opportunity to do the bigger one next.
Well,
I
do. But at the same time, even if I do, and even if I had all the resources to do everything I'd want to do, my priority, my focus would still be to tell the story.
And that's true, because he had a considerable amount more on this movie and more resources, and his intention was always the same, which was to tell a good story.
I'm not there to make a music video. I have an idea of what it is I'm trying to do, and it's create empathetic characters and get us from A to B in the story, and have the audience come with us.
The similarity that I see with him and other people I've worked with, you know, he and Ang Lee on set have a very similar demeanor. He's incredibly quiet on set. He hardly says a thing. I mean, he really does. And Ang was the same way. And yet, you know...
When they speak, you listen.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, if I had a question for him, or what was, you know, he always... It's a sort of supreme confidence. I mean, you trusted me when I say something.
Yeah.
But when I would say something that felt like, he never would beat around the bush with me. I mean, he would always be like, I don't think that works because of this. And he's very confident and clear about what he wants. You know, there's no faltering with that, which I think is incredible.
I'm also honest as well. I know that there's different ways of trying to bring a performance out of actors, and you can kind of some people try and fool their actors or tell their actors what they want to hear, and I'm kind of Jake can vouch for the fact I'm very blunt. You know, if I don't like something, I tell people. If I do like them, I tell them. But at least they'll know that what I'm saying, I really mean.
That's true. And actually, ironically, Aang is exactly the same way. And I think it's really appreciated because the way he directs is very simple, but also is so effective. You know, I think people tend to. It was funny last night at the screening when they're like, "So where is Sean Fentress?" And I was in my mind, I had an answer to that. And he was like, "Sean Fentress is dead." And I was like, "That's clearly a director who's like made a choice. Now we're moving on."
But we did not resolve the issue last night. So the music, very Hitchcockian.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about your choices there. I loved the music.
Thank you. And Hitchcockian was really that was an inspiration for all of our departments really. Our wardrobe, you know, what Jake was wearing, the idea of the
North by
everyman.
Northwest.